Oh, I got mute.
Welcome back. It's Monday. You know what time it is. It's time for Monday Command. Joining us today, Jalen from Bleeding BNG, as we discuss Jayden Daniels' 5-touchdown performance when we defeated them dirty Philadelphia Eagles. But you know what? Reedie Zee starts now. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
What up? What up?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. Jayden Daniels, let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. Let's not waste no time. Z, what's your thoughts?
I mean, my thoughts, man. First and foremost, Jalen, appreciate you coming on the show. We definitely been trying to get you on, so we was able to work the schedule and get some things kicking. So we happy to have you, and let's get it. But for sure, Jayden Daniels. I mean, a big game. You know, 5 tutties. He overcame the 2 interceptions. He stuck in there. He led this team with the attitude, the grit, and he put it all out there. You know what I mean? One of the key things that I seen from the whole game is that, you know, as the game was progressing, I just kept saying, man, it just feels like we're going to pull this off. It just feel like, you know, these guys going to fight back. And Jayden did just that. You know what I mean? I can attribute to the, you know, that 4th and 11 when he went for 29 yards. It just shows, you know what I mean, his toughness. You know what I mean? He's fearless. And he really, you know what I mean, he think he's him. And I mean, he's been proving that, and it's just been dope to see. So yeah, that's my take on it. What you had, what you saw, Jalen?
First of all, thank y'all for having me. I said this on my episode yesterday. I said, even though, you know, Jayden's been like a shoe-in for the offensive rookie of the year since like week 3, since like the Monday night game, I think yesterday was like his real like coming out party and then like entering like true superstardom for the NFL. Doing it in a division game, doing it down 14 points, and in the fashion that he did it in. You were talking about the 29-yard run he had on 4th down. All morning I've been debating which one of those runs was my favorite, either that run or the one he had on the last drive where he had Jalen Carter just looking like a big slob. And that's one of the freakiest defensive linemen in the NFL. And he looked like he was moving in quicksand, chasing Jayden. It just shows that we got like a dynamic player at the quarterback position, and something I ain't been used to. And I'm pretty sure y'all ain't been used to being a fan of this organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Jayden Daniels with the 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter, just putting the thing on his back and just not being denied on several key plays down the stretch. The last play y'all just alluded to was the last play of the 3rd quarter when he broke away on that 4th and 11 and got down there for, I believe it was 29 or 30 yards. I thought he was going to house it from where I was sitting in my seats. Looked like he was going to break away, but I think Blankenship caught him at the end. But just like you said, Z, true grit from our starting quarterback. We haven't seen this in years, bro.
Absolutely.
In my lifetime, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it definitely just continues to attribute to what Dan talks about with this team, that we got fight. You know, all year long, he's just saying it's a group of tough guys that love the sport and they love to play. You know what I mean? We fell short on, I mean, technically 5 games this year. You know what I mean, with the 5 L's, but you know what I mean, and some of those games were definitely close, majority of them. So it just shows that, you know, through it all, we fight. And one of the key things I was happy to see this game is, like, normally we start out hot and kind of try to, you know what I mean, tail away. But this game, it just seemed like we stuck in there all the way through and through. You know, when the Eagles got up 14-0, we didn't fret. You know what I mean? They was up 21-7. We came right back with Terry on the bomb. You know what I mean? It just showed that I feel like the not only did the players want it, but the coaches really wanted this game as well. And you kind of saw that from the aggressiveness that they was doing with, you know, with a little bit of play calling. Cliff was a little questionable in the beginning, but I feel like he snapped out of it and got it together, and so did Joe Witt on the defensive side. You know, Saquon in the second half was held to only 46 yards after, you know, starting out the game with over 100. So it was definitely great to see those adjustments made and kind of, you know, help us move forward. You know what I mean? We got to get ready for another matchup with some superstars, you know, down there in Atlanta, and they, you know, they pretty hot with the you know, got Penix coming in, so they got a little extra motivation. But, you know, this game definitely, I feel like, prepared us for what's to come next week as well.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that. I think this was Cliff's best game. He was able to come out in the second half and make those necessary changes. You know, the first possession we had, we came down and it was 3 straight passing attempts. I thought he tried to get them off balance a little bit, because normally we come out running the football. So by, you know, going to the passing game first, I thought he was just trying to keep them off balance and keep them a little bit honest. And then on the fourth down, we weren't able to convert on fourth down. It was a stop. And then we came back out and Luke McCaffrey broke the kickoff to the 50-yard line. The next play, Brian Robinson Jr., he fumbles the football. So I don't necessarily think it was Cliff. I think he was calling a okay game up to that point. It just was stuff was just happening in the game. We just started off slow. But, you know, that like you said before, that was just, we showed that we were able to stick in the game and continue that fight and continue what this team has been doing all years, and never quit and never saying die, and just continuing to the end.
Yeah, no question. No question. So, yeah, what did you think about the run game, Jalen? You know what I mean? We had B-Rob. He only finished with like 24 yards. Of course, Jayden had 81, and he led, you know, all backs in that. So how did you feel about the offset with that? And is this something that you think we have to worry about moving forward?
I mean, I think both of y'all touched on it. I think the biggest reason that we won this game outside of Jayden Daniels is the adjustments that we made on both sides of the ball. And just sticking with the run game, the run game was pretty much non-existent. I know B-Rob's a feel-good story, but it's time that we really have like a real conversation about Brian Robinson, because outside of the Tennessee game, he's looked like Rob Kelly to me over the last month. And I know a lot of that has to do with his health and him not being 100%, but he's never 100%, and that's an issue as well. But I think that Cliff made the necessary adjustments. This game broke open once they started to push the ball downfield. I think he realized that he didn't have what it took to stick with the run game, even though that's been our identity over the course of the year. And it all opened up with Terry going on Quinyon Mitchell's head. I think that was in the second quarter. And then after that, you start seeing deep ball after deep ball, Diami beating Darius Slay, and we started to push the ball downfield. I think he got away with Cliff got away from what he usually wants to do with the bubbles and the screens, because those simply weren't working. And then to touch on the defense, I think I read somewhere that Saquon had 109 yards in the first 9 minutes of the game, and he only had like 41 in the last 3 quarters. And I know a lot of that has to do with Jalen Hurts and the threat of his legs not being at the quarterback position. But y'all touched on it. Joe Witt started to sell out. He started putting 9 and 10 in the box. It started looking like he was running Engage 8 for my fans that play Madden out there. It was crazy. And, he was relying and trusting Marshawn to hold up against AJ Brown, and he did in some instances, even though he got beat more than he won. But just having that type of faith in the cornerback is something that we haven't had. And it allows you to have a game plan where you can sell out against the run, because we wasn't doing that when we throwing Benjamin St. Juste and Emmanuel Forbes out there. We're not trusting them to man up on the island. So we can't even get to that game plan. Even though Marshawn didn't have his best day, it allowed us to stick to selling out against the run, which ultimately helped us in the end.
So with committing them 5 turnovers, do we think ball security is going to be an issue going down the stretch, in the colder months, ball security is pivotal. We see a lot more fumbles and a lot more turnovers as it gets colder, but that really hasn't been a problem for us this year. So what do you guys think about that, going down the stretch, these next two pivotal games versus Atlanta and Dallas ending the season?
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's going to be, I don't think it should be an issue moving forward. Just as you said, it hasn't really been our identity. Yesterday was one of them games where it's just like, damn, like every time we get a break, this happens. And one thing about what I saw from B-Rob when he walked off, he had a moment, he walked away. People was trying to dap him. This was after the second fumble. People was trying to dap him and talk to him. He went and took his break. But then it was like another series later on. I think it was after the Diami fumble. He was walking towards the sideline and trying to pump everybody else up and get them back to that mentality. So I think as long as, you're going to have mistakes. But, when they come, as long as you can take that mistake and just let it not sink in your mind that much and just move forward from that and play hard, I think it'll work itself out. But, overall, I don't think it'll be something that we should have to worry about down the future. I hope not. And then, of course, on the interception part, the one high to Luke, get it, Jayden, that throw again, he's going to hit that on the money. He was right there in the window. It sailed on him. And then, the pick got tipped. So the other pick got tipped. So, I'm definitely not really worried about the mistakes on Jayden's side. But I definitely would like to see, the other ones shored up for sure.
What do you think, Jay?
I agree. I think that this was more so an anomaly. Like, even though I just, critique Brian Robinson, how many games in his career is he going to fumble 2 times, right? Like, that's an anomaly. Jayden, early in the season, he was on a historic rate for interceptions. He's thrown a little bit more over the course of the last 3 or so games, but this is a guy that has shown that he's not going to put the ball in harm's way too many times. Like you said, the second one was tipped, and I honestly think the first one was just like a hell of a play by Zach Bond. I went back and watched some all 22 today. He essentially did what Frankie Louvu did to Kenny Pickett on his interception, where he disguised and he shot down in the zone, and Jayden knew he was going to have to get it over him, and he just sealed that one. And that's a throw, like you said, 9 times out of 10. He's going to make that. And that's not us just saying that. We've seen him make that throw over and over again. So I think it was more so an anomaly and not a trend per se.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So we saw a lot of unsung heroes in this game. You had Olamide Zaccheaus leading all the receivers with 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then we seen Jamison Crowder with the 2 touchdowns. And we also finally seen Luke McCaffrey come alive in the kicking game. So I think it was all 3 phases of the football game. We saw contributions from everybody. So what do you guys think that is going to happen, down the stretch with, because we were a little bit worried pregame when they said KJ Osborne wasn't playing. And we was like, well, damn, we brought him here to play. Why is he not active today? We were a little bit worried before this game. I ain't going to lie. Like, I was a little nervous before this game. Like, I pretty much think you two probably were too. That was big for us, I thought, in this game. So do you think we continue to see these type of contributions from these players moving forward?
You can go first.
I wasn't necessarily too worried about KJ Osborne because I wasn't necessarily high on the signing when we initially brought him in. Don't want to trash NFL players, but I don't necessarily think that KJ Osborne is that good. He couldn't get reps in a piss poor Patriots room, and he's regressed since his breakout year in 2022. I just think that we gave guys opportunities like Jayden's 2 interceptions. They went to Luke, and that's after us for the 2 months. Not you guys necessarily, but people in the fan base and people in the community asking, why doesn't he throw the ball to Senate and Luke? Well, guess what? You see what happens when he throws the ball to Luke McCaffrey. And I think that was just Jayden giving guys opportunity. Jamison Crowder is back, right? He was on the show for most of the season. So you just giving him additional options. And I honestly think that Jamison Crowder is better than KJ Osborne. So, and I also think that that's one of the reasons why he was playing over him, including his contribution on special teams as well. So I wasn't necessarily worried about that, but ever since Noah Brown went down, and honestly, if we're being 100% honest, since the beginning of the season, we've been asking about who's the wide receiver too. And it's been skill position by committee. all season. And when you got a talent like Jayden Daniels, like you can get away with it. Not saying that we're going to win a Super Bowl, but you can win games with the rotation at the skill positions. We saw the Patriots do it. That's all they did in the early 2000s. We don't remember any wide receiver for the Patriots outside of Deion Branch and Randy Moss. And I hate to compare Jayden Daniels to Tom Brady, but I'm not saying that he isn't. He had a better rookie season than Tom Brady, so that's all I can hold him to at this point. So yeah, that's my ultimate thoughts on it.
Yeah, definitely. And I just to kind of piggyback on that, I'm not sure. I feel like I remember, Jalen, you was kind of going off about who was going to be the number 2 after we traded Jahan, because I was going off as well. And I was like, yeah, I finally got somebody that agree with me and we're on the same page, because everybody was saying, Jahan ain't nothing, he ain't this and that. And I was like, I get it. But at that point, like, who's going to replace him? You know what I mean? So, and it's definitely been the question all year long. Who is that number 2? And I mean, we tried the Noah Brown thing. You know what I mean? And to be honest, he made some good catches and things like that, but he wasn't really moving the needle that much. Zaccheaus has had an up and down year. He definitely had, he was getting little dinks and dunks, all year long. But I feel like yesterday was a big game for him, and I hope that that's something that can lead, that he can push down the playoff push. Because I don't know if it was just him playing his ex-team or if he got some fire under him when you see the team go sign a guy like Osborne, when you already in the room and the coaches love you, and you're like, damn, they still going to get other people. So I don't know if that woke him up or what, but it was definitely great to see. But Jamison Crowder, I've been telling Reedie since early on, I've been saying, like, where's Crowder? And even when we signed him last year, I was psyched about that, because he gives you what you need in the slot. You know what I mean? He's the older guy. He's going to run. He's real crafty. He's going to run his routes to a T. He's going to find ways to get open, and he got hands. You know what I mean? He very seldom makes a lot of mistakes. And then what he brings in the return game is just a plus. So when he came, they talked about the 21-day window and us needing another receiver, I kept saying, man, he gotta get on the field. And once he got in, he's producing. So it's definitely exciting to see there. And I mean, of course, Terry is Terry. So it's just like, I think with those 3, along with Diami, I would like to see Diami get 2 bombs a game. 2 or more. Every now and then he get his 1 bomb, and then he kind of like, that's his big play, and that's it. I would like to see him get more of that and stretch the field. But I think moving forward, if they gel and play like they did yesterday, we'll be fine. Because the Eagles DBs aren't a slouch. Their defense is one of the top out there, and they're really aggressive. And guys was finding ways to get open. So at this point, I'm going to say it's not a huge worry as it was before after I seen them performing like that. But I would love to see him be more consistent over the last 2 to kind of really give us confidence going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with both of you, but I think Cliff, by him going full wide, that kind of gave us a different wrinkle that we really haven't seen all year. And he was also able to, because of the lack of the run game, also those little dink and dunk passes kind of counted towards those runs to keep us in favorable, down and distances coming down the stretch. But I would say this: you have been talking about Crowder, and I was saying Crowder was washed at one point, but what Crowder has showed me recently, like he might got a little bit left in the tank, but I feel like for us to go, we got to do what God has said, and that's running the football. So if we can continue to get B-Rob back on track, and maybe if we can get some other help from these other 2 running backs and possibly get Austin Eckler back, I think we got a good shot going down the stretch.
Yeah, I agree. Eckler coming back will definitely be key. And
y'all think he's coming back?
I mean, initially I was saying I didn't necessarily think so, but it seems like they were saying he was actually doing walkthroughs and working on the side last week in practice when they was in the bubble. So it looking like he might potentially. I think this is his 4th week coming up, so a decision is gonna have to be made soon.
Yeah, I would think that he would come back. Maybe not this week, but maybe for the Dallas game. I can see that, because that would be like 6 weeks he's been out. Yeah. But that definitely with that different dynamic that we need, that back out of the backfield, because he was one of the key contributors the first game against Philadelphia. Imagine if we had that, we would have been a little bit more potent. B-Rob, he was serviceable, and what he was able to do catching the football on a couple times that Jayden targeted him yesterday. But Eckler, he just gives you that different dynamic. He can take it from anywhere on the field in the pass game, and I don't think he can necessarily take it anywhere from the field from running the ball, but maybe in the pass game, you get him out on a swing pass, he can make a few people miss and get people at the right angles. He probably could take it to the house.
No, I would definitely. I'd be super excited. I think that early in the season, Austin Eckler was our most dynamic player with the ball in his hand. So I'll be excited if he comes back. I'm just not sure. I missed that he was in doing the walkthroughs. I was just listening to his radio spot with Grant and Danny, and he didn't sound like a guy that was ready to come back. So I mean, I would love for him to come back. So yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, facts. I was telling Reedie about that too.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I was telling you about what he was saying on the radio, and that's what had me kind of bashing that he might not come back. And, Reedie was going off, thought I was trying to be funny about him.
He was talking about his family life, dealing with his kids.
It just sounded like he was checking out.
But my thing on that was, bro, that was like 3 weeks ago. You talk about something that happened 3 weeks ago.
No,
we talking about
2 weeks ago.
He came back and did another one. I know exactly what he came back and did another one like that.
Okay, I missed that one.
I think the last spot has been more promising, but like the first two that he had been on since the injury, he was talking a little crazy.
Oh, okay. So now the elephant in the room defensively. Do you think, like, if we're in the 7th seed right now, so unless the Packers lose and something crazy happens, we're probably not moving into that 6th seed. That was my wish, but I don't think we're going to be able to move up. So we're probably looking at a matchup with probably Philadelphia in the first round of the playoffs. So do you guys think with a healthy Jalen Hurts, because like the elephant in the room, like, let's just be clear, with Jalen Hurts and Saquon on the field, Jalen Hurts, before he went out, he had 41 yards on 3 carries. Like, he was killing us. So with him going out and you coming in with a Kenny Pickett that can't move around, that can't pull the ball, you make him one-dimensional. So then you could bring that 7th defender, 8th defender in the box to try to shut Saquon down, which we did in the second half. But even when Pickett first came in, he still hit AJ Brown, and Saquon still broke the 60-something yard run he broke or whatever. So moving forward, if Hurts comes back and we played him in the playoffs, can we replicate this same type of game or better against these people?
I mean, one of the keys we talked about on the show last week was that we had to find a way to spy Jalen. And I don't feel like we did that, when he was in the game. Every time he broke away on them long runs, it was the middle of the field was wide open. So I'm not sure, what if that requires maybe, have, Luvu kind of rush and kind of pause to kind of still kind of spy, not go all the way. Or if that is bringing in another safety or a linebacker to kind of help spy him. I'm not sure, but we got to get eyes on him and keep someone on him tight. Otherwise, we're going to see what we saw yesterday at the beginning of the game. So I think that'll be something key to look out for in the next matchup if it ends up falling that way, which it look like it will. But other than that, I mean, as far as, being able, whatever you did the second half to stop Saquon, which a lot of that, I think, Daron Payne stepped up big yesterday, very physical. He was getting blocks of ball from him. He was present. Even guys like Sheldon Day and Carl Davis Jr., like, man, they was getting tackles in the backfield and making plays. So as long as our D-line, and not to forget, John Allen will be back by that time. So, with guys getting in the mix, and if they can continue to D-line play aggressive and get them guys up off them, we'll be all right. But we definitely got to find some way to contain Jalen when he start getting his runs.
So real quick before you go, Jen, so you're a John Allen guy now? I'm just curious. I'm just asking.
That's funny. We was talking about this yesterday. We was talking about this yesterday. I was like, I'm surprised you ain't said nothing to me about kind of, I feel like I'm glazing John Allen because he's supposed to be returning. And I'm like, I don't even know why I feel like this. I've been wanting to trade him since 2 years ago, even before that. But, in the mindset of it, like, I think that he helps us down the stretch. He's still not my guy. But, I think that he could definitely be better than, what's there. And if we really trying to make a push, shit, man, bring them all back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
that's where I'm at with it.
I'm gonna say this: like Philly can keep running Jalen Hurts if they want to. Like all the Eagles fans talking points and talking about how we beat Kenny Pickett, and they missing the fact that like we knocked Jalen Hurts out the game. Like it's not the most unlikely thing that a power running quarterback got hurt running the football. Like this football, that's going to happen. And I know you guys were at the game like me. So the way that they were talking about how egregious the Louisville hit was, I could have swore that they were, talking about it on the TV copy. I'm like, did I miss something? Like, and no, it just was a typical hit that you're going to get when you have a power running quarterback running power running football. So they can play 11 on 11 football if they want, but we can remember that was the same excuse for why they didn't do what they needed to do last year was because Hurts was running on one leg. Well, guess what? That's going to happen when y'all got him doing tush pushes and scrums that weigh a ton. Like, what do we expect? Like, that's football. So that we beat Kenny Pickett talking point is kind of minute to me. But sticking with our D line, I'm not the biggest John Allen guy either. But I started to feel like some people in the community were starting to talk about Johnny Newton in like a fairy tale sense. I know we're looking at him through a rookie lens, but I think they were kind of talking as if Johnny Newton had been outplaying John Allen as just a straight up player to player standpoint, and that simply wasn't the case. But one thing I will say about Johnny Newton is that he's twitched up. He can't really hold his spot against the double team right now, but he chased down Saquon and Kenneth Gainwell for a couple of tackle for loss yesterday. Where I was like, oh, damn, he looked like a big dancing bear. So we could get like just the different flavors and the different styles of defensive tackles. I think that can help us in the playoffs where, running the ball is going to be essential, stopping the run and, running the football on your own. So like Z said, all hands on deck. I'm not the biggest John Allen guy, but we need him. I'll be a fool to say we don't need him.
No.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that John Allen makes Daron Payne better. Because I feel like when John Allen is in there, like you said, Johnny Newton is not able really to take on those double team blocks. I feel like that's John Allen's role. He could take on the double team and he could come off, and that makes Payne better because Payne could be one-on-one. Payne is a little bit more faster, so he can get off and kind of wreak havoc in the backfield and kind of get there. We have seen this year, the last few games, Payne has affected the game in so many ways. He has maybe not made the play, but he's caused the play to go away where other people can contribute and make the play. So I think, down the stretch with, like you said, all hands on deck with everybody coming in, we got contribution from players way down the depth chart. People that was on the practice squad came in and made plays. So like you said, we need all hands on deck to make this thing move coming down the stretch. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We got Atlanta. So what are the keys to a victory against Atlanta with a Penix and all the other weapons that they got over there with Atlanta coming in Sunday night into what we call Uptown Federal, but most of y'all call Northwest, whatever the fuck it's called. But we call it Uptown Federal. Northwest Stadium, yeah. What y'all thoughts on that?
Man, I say, containing B. John Robinson is the biggest thing we need from our defense to keep us in this game and to be able to control this game. Because he's just so versatile and he has the breakaway ability. He's not quite Saquon, but he has some of those same tendencies a little bit. So I would like to see us shore him up and make sure that he's not getting outside or getting these long, chunk runs. And we got to be able to defend him in the passing game. I saw yesterday a play where, the Eagles caught us on a wheel route and Wagner was checking Saquon. The ball was overthrown and he dropped it. But shit, that scares me. So it's like we can't allow things like that to happen. And I to be honest, I guess they just catch us in rundowns where we feel like we're gonna, run and that happens. But I feel like as a defense, Joe Wick got to be mindful of how versatile this guy is. And they got big guys over there. Kyle Pitts hasn't turned out to be what we all thought he would be. We thought Pitts would be kind of like teetering the Bowers lane, but he's still a physical, athletic guy. So he needs to be, defended, and as well as Drake London. He a guy with size and a guy that's going, he can make some plays. So we got to make sure that we key in on their guys, their main guys, and pressure the hell out of Penix. Continue to make him nervous, rattle him. Can't let that guy come in and beat us, pretty much. That's where I'm at with it. What you got, Jalen?
I agree. I think that the game plan is going to be different whether Marshawn Lattimore plays or doesn't. I don't know if we mentioned that he was out for the last 3 minutes of that game. He blew his hamstring again. So I don't know if we're going to see Marshawn Lattimore anymore this season. So I don't expect him to play, which means that we're not going to be able to sell out against the run like we did against Saquon. But the game plan is to contain Bijan Robinson. He's a generational talent at the running back position. While the numbers might not say it, as far as just like a height, weight, skill, and like speed set, skill set, like he checks off all the boxes. And like you said, he can do it in the passing game. I do think that if Marshawn doesn't play, I don't trust Benjamin St. Juste against anybody right now, but it ain't like Drake London is a speed guy that's going to beat him downfield. That's probably the most ideal matchup if St. Juste is going to be out there. But it's all about containing Bijan Robinson and making Michael Penix look like a rookie. Because while he was pushing the ball downfield yesterday, it still looked like the Falcons receivers aren't used to catching passes from a left-hand quarterback. So if we can take advantages of that, and this is a guy that still is going to be in his second start playing in the cold weather. So, yeah, like we got to make him look like a rookie. It's going to be a big Joe Witt Jr. week for us, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. What you think,
Yeah, absolutely. I think we just have to, we got to be able to contain Mooney, Drake London, Algier. He could come in. He subs, Bijan Robinson. You can't let him affect the game. I'm with you guys on Bijan Robinson. Definitely is a generational talent, somebody that can wreck shop. He could take it from anywhere on the field. Another Saquon Barkley. We just gonna have to just come in and make Penix, get him off his spot, confuse him, disguise some things, because he is a rookie quarterback. This is his second start, and he was on the bench for a reason. So he obviously wasn't ready to come in and take on this team, sooner, or they would have got Kirk Cousins out of there. I think they tried to get him in this week to kind of get him prepared for a stretch run, because they're trying to get in the playoffs as well. But I think if we limit those players, I think we'll be fine. And just complimentary football, and our offense just possess the football, keep them off the field, and I think we'll be good. Coming up here, a night game, prime time. For all the mobs, this is to go to the playoffs right here for both teams. So I think it's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I'm looking at the comments too, just to kind of chime in and see what people saying out there. It was like we got to run the ball if we're gonna make noise. Jayden needs to stop overthrowing. One thing about Jayden that I just think that I would love to see him improve is when you get to the sideline, bro, throw the damn ball away. Yeah, like you're fighting for a half a yard, like half a yard or losing yards. And sometimes you taking unnecessary hits. If you throw the ball away earlier, you won't get those situations. That's my biggest area of improvement for him. But other than that, I think that offensively, if we want to switch over to the offense and want some keys, I think that we definitely need to continue to be aggressive, take them down the field shots. I think when we do that, positive things happen. It'll either be a pass interference. A lot of times we're able to draw them, or we're actually also, connecting. Jayden is putting shit on the money right in the bucket, and they've been doing it since training camp. So, it's definitely something that I think it's an area that we can definitely focus more on, and just to keep defenses honest. Because if we're doing that and taking shots, they can't put 8, 9 in the box on us because we're gonna go up top.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
Yeah,
I agree. Offensive keys on y'all end.
My offensive key is gonna be my key every week. We got to run the football. Running the football sets up everything else that we want to do in this offense under Cliff Kingsbury. And I hate to say it opens up the short game, the intermediate game, and the deep game with taking our shots. And everything predicates off of that. I'm glad we kind of got away from that, read option, kind of keeping it situation because we were very dependent on that, and people knew that's what we were going to do. I'm glad we kind of got away from that, and Cliff has kind of opened up the playbook a little bit more, to sprinkle a little bit things in there. It's time to sprinkle some more in there. But I also think a key factor in this game is we got to get Zach Ertz the football in the middle of the field. We got to open up that middle of the field and get him stretching the field vertically, because we can't keep just relying on Terry McLaurin. Like this game, other people showed up, but traditionally, I don't feel confident that they're going to show up, every week. You know what I'm saying? We're asking for a lot. It's a by committee situation, but we'll see. But I think Ertz is going to be pivotal. He was kind of quiet in this game. I think he had one or two receptions, but he needs more. He needs like 5 receptions, 5 to 6 receptions in this game to kind of help us out. That's what I think.
I hate to sound like a broken record, but I mean, it is that we need to run the football. But I hate to say that, and because I thought that the Saints game was going to be our get right game as far as the run game, because they got the worst rushing defense in the league, and we proceeded to run into a brick wall for 4 quarters. So I would hate to have to emphasize that and then that not be the case, because honestly, probably the 2 best players on Atlanta's defense is both of their safeties. They play a lot of too high. So you're going to be able to have, running lanes presented. It's just the fact that if you're going to find them and attack those and make big gains out of them. Just being that their 2 best players are safeties, I don't know how big of a game that Zach Ertz is going to have. I honestly think that it might be a big game for Terry McLaurin. I know he went up top for Quinyon Mitchell yesterday, to get the touchdown, but he only had like 6 targets yesterday. I think that next week might be a game where we might have to spam Terry, get him his 12 to 13 targets, get him around 120 yards to really open up everything else. This is a game where, like you said, it's for all the marbles. So we really got to use our superstars. And I said yesterday, like Jayden and Terry are like Michael and Janet with a bunch of Tito's, right? And that's what we're really working with the offense. So you really got to use your superstars and the stars on your team right now, your blue chips.
What you got, Jay? You on mute?
Yeah, you on mute.
My bad. What y'all think is our biggest area of improvement needed moving forward?
Getting pushed in the run game. I think that's for the offensive line, and I think that's with Brian Robinson's vision. I made a take a couple of weeks ago. I didn't think it was necessarily a hot take. I said I think that Chris Rodriguez might have the best vision in the running back room. I'm not saying that he's the best running back, but Brian Robinson and with the way that our offensive line is not getting much push right now, he's the type of back that is just going to run into somebody's back, no diddy, and try to get as many yards as he can. And that's just simply not doing it right now and opening up for the offense. So our biggest improvement on the offensive end, and my belief, is getting pushed in the run game so that we can establish an inside running game.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing for me would be just consistency overall, as it relates to just staying on the field and just being able to go down the field and just keeping teams off balance. We got to be more consistent with that. I feel like a lot of times we shoot ourselves in the foot with the down and distance and the things of that nature. You can't live in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11 and expect to convert against some of these teams down the stretch. Even going into the playoffs, I know I'm getting ahead of myself with the playoffs, but that's going to be pivotal, like, staying on the field, keeping drives moving. Even if we are able to come away with field goals, that's not where I want to live. But if we got to come away with field goals, we got to put points on the board and play hard, smash mouth, tough defense. And then defensively, I think we got to get a little bit more pressure up the middle from these defensive tackles, and as well as clogging these running lanes and clogging these gaps and stopping the run. I think that's pivotal, the most improvement that I need to see from us. And I think other than that, I think we'll be fine. Because, even with how bad St. Jude has played, if he has to play, he hasn't been as bad as he was. He's been better for him. But hopefully, prayerfully, Marshawn Lattimore isn't going to miss that much time with this retweak of this hamstring. From what I heard on the broadcast yesterday, it was a hamstring, and you already alluded to that earlier. So hopefully that doesn't seem to be something that's going to linger.
Yeah, and I would say to me, just for the purposes, it definitely our most improved area is needed is definitely with the run game. But I will say, just to kind of say something different than what you two guys said, I would like to see us. I mean, we're already starting with the change to Luke to have better returns. But I would like to see us like really be a threat on returns. I mean, whether that's I think pretty soon he's going to house one. Yeah, after yesterday, and they was talking about it this morning. I caught a little bit of B Mitch and Finley, and they was just basically kind of saying like, Dan. One thing about Dan, he sticks with a lot of guys, but also, he don't put guys out there until they're ready. And they feel like that, at this point they felt Luke was ready, and they made that switch. And I mean, as you see yesterday and even last week, he kind of teased us with a little bit. But yesterday, we actually saw him really make a difference in a return game. So I would like to see us to continue to get better there, because we need some special teams touchdowns, as we make this push.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly think that while he had that big return, I think Luke could have got more out of that return. I don't know if he would have housed it, but he kind of slowed up when he got to the kicker. I think he could have got even more out of that big return. But I think if we just, at this point in the season, we're not bringing anybody in to help the offense, to help the run game. I think you just, like I said, you just got to rely on your blue chippers. A lot of Terry McLaurin, a lot of Jayden Daniels, and just allow Jayden Daniels to be special. And that's not having him throw 15 bubble screens a game. Like, we could get 2 or 3 of them in. But let Jayden Daniels be JD5, man. I think we'd be in good hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, what else you got, Reedie?
I mean, I think that's it for this episode of Monday Command. I think we kind of discussed everything that we needed to discuss. What do you guys have? Your last takes?
I appreciate y'all having me. This was fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Gotta do it again. Gotta do it again sometime.
Yeah,
Definitely,
for sure.
definitely.
Let us know when you record and all that. We can line some schedules up. We can hop on your show as well. I mean, we're big on collaboration and community for sure. So let us know when we with it, bro. We try and run it up.
Yeah, we definitely all are, in this together. We all love this team. We all, pay our money, go to these games, be stressed out, be cussing, be fussing. So, what I'm saying? We can all come together and talk about it. That's, that's love for me, man. I appreciate you, man, for coming on. And let's do this again, definitely.
Thank y'all. Y'all enjoy your holidays.
You too,
Likewise,
man.
bro.
But y'all do us a favor, like, share, subscribe. Shout out to our sponsors, Saray's Catering. Also, great clothing line, powered by Great Clothing Line. You be great today, every day, and all day. And also by KB3 Events. Until next time, we'll see y'all this week in Town Federal. And we're gone.